being judged, all of us, despite the efforts we're making, we're all being judged just by, little things happening here and there.
He was a man of competency in the sense that he understood peacemaking, he understood bringing people together, he understood real politics, and he understood geopolitics as well. A man driven by Pan-Africanism, and who throughout his tenure showed it. But President Rawlings was beyond all those things. He was first and foremost a kind human being, a big brother to us, a mentor, someone that we saw as a role model for us.
He was engaging with the different parties in Somalia at the moment, with the leadership of Somalia and those of us who were in the international community, trying to ensure that we were dialoguing in the quest for peace in Somalia.
From a young revolutionary to a visionary leader of a proud nation, Ghana, Jerry John Rawlings inspired many across Africa and the world. His name became synonymous with Ghana and was highly respected by leaders, many of whom called him a friend.
Individuals like the former president brought attention to the African continent. These are the individuals who made us seen, made us visible, gave us space at the table.
But these long strides to greatness did not come without huge sacrifices, family, friends, and personal sacrifices.
After we went out of power in 2001, that's when I believe he had the chance to experience real family life with his wife and children. But the formative years, the natural bonding that he should have had with his children was not actually experienced by him, and therefore that was a sacrifice.
Rawlings will not only be the physical evidence across the country we can point to, but a legacy of democracy, of values, principles, his love for the common people, and an echoing voice of conscience for the nation.
Jerry, in my opinion, has done a lot for this country, and he must be highly commended for his service, his commitment to Mother Ghana.
There were 3 letters that came to the office, for instance, and each of them were asking that his name be put. First one was an oil platform, the second one has to do with the ports, some naming ceremony, and they wanted to put his name on it. The third one came from UDS, and he wrote within that letter that he would rather his name be written in the hearts of people than on monuments, roads, and buildings.
According to Dr. Mrs. Grant, who told me, he said when Dr. Frimpong Martin came, he didn't have the support from his superiors. That when one day he came back and go to Mrs. Mary Grant, Dr. Mary Grant took him to Chairman Rawlings, and Chairman Rawlings instructed that immediately he should be assisted in getting a center established.
This is what impressed me about him. He didn't know me, had not seen me before, but the fact that he supported the program told me that he did it not out of political expediency or anything, but he was convinced about what we were doing. And this is something that I thought was very, very impressive.
I had completed my common entrance examination and was awaiting an opportunity to go to Prempeh College. But the funds were not there, even to assist me with a partial scholarship I had. Just by participating in an examination which was organized under the auspices of President Rawlings, I was able to get the opportunity to travel to Cuba and have secondary education, free secondary education for that matter, and tertiary education, and graduate as an optometrist, come back to Ghana, work at several top hospitals, and eventually go into private practice.
He once told me, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. If you are not disciplined, you cannot achieve anything. And I was looking at his face. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, which is a fact. Say, look at me. I'm a disciplined man. More so, I'm a soldier. What do I need? I can die tomorrow, he was telling me. And this is exactly what has happened.
The former president of Ghana, Jerry Rawlings, has died at the age of 73.
Tributes are pouring in from across the continent after the passing of Ghana's former president, Jerry Rawlings.
He was the first president of our Fourth Republic, a man who held the supreme office in Ghana, and therefore his passage has to be a matter for the Ghanaian nation.
Like most people who are very famous in your life, you don't expect them to die. You don't.
Human as he was, human as I am, it was difficult to associate him with death. He was a personification of life.
How can someone like him die? And how is Ghana going to be when he's not here?
It hit me like a thunderbolt because I never thought for a moment that he will go so soon.
When you have a legacy that he has, you can't mourn someone like that. You have to just celebrate their life, and you thank God that they came through. He's a giant tree that has fallen, but the tree and the ambience and all of that will be here, and his legacy will be with us forever.
A pillar for many, so strong a personality that his passing on shook the nation and the world, leaving many in disbelief. But some say it was characteristic of the man. Enigmatic Jerry Rawlings lived on his own terms.
God knows best. Yeah. God knows best. But given the benefit of hindsight and the way he went about his last few working days, he must have known that the time was coming up. In fact, the day he got to the hospital, when I saw him in the hospital the first time, he told me that he was thanking me for making sure that he was sent to the hospital the time he was sent to, because he himself could see that he was a few minutes away from going. But thankfully he got there, so it was okay.
In fact, I was sitting in this chair and my daughter just came in and she sat down and she was looking at her phone. She said, "Mommy, I've just seen, have you heard?" I said, "What?" She said, "Uncle Jerry." I said, "What has he done?" He said, "He's passed on." And to tell the truth, I was happy I was sitting down because it was such a big blow. I was so devastated. I was so distraught.
Obia ono na atito ni na ejuma sa bebia odi na ekoba na prekwa pe mpana fiusa. Ni easy sa but Yami Behe, Yami Sukrai.
I'm in denial, you know. I'm in denial. I don't want to believe that he's dead. I didn't know he was ill. And although he was admitted somewhere for about a week or so, I was never told. Never. I didn't know anything. And I could have visited him or maybe given advice as to what to be done and so on. But it happened. And it was shocking.
I don't believe this. I don't believe it's no more. I will believe it after I've seen the body with my eye, and if I have the opportunity to touch it, which maybe I won't have the opportunity to touch it. But it will be very difficult for me to believe that my godfather is no more.
It was the straw that broke the camel's back that day. It was bad. It was really bad. He can never be replicated. He was different, and he was solid, and he was sincere. He was loyal. Of all my husband's friends, he was the most. He had the most integrity, and it's difficult to come across people like that. If they care for you, they care for you. And no strings, no conditionalities, nothing. I wouldn't be surprised if he kept on wondering why I didn't fall on him more often. But for me, it was just enough that he was there. It was just enough that he was there.
Extending my heartfelt condolences, my most profound thoughts and prayers will be with her throughout. And we pray and hope that Jerry Jones will rest in peace. His perfect soul will rest in peace. I'm sorry.
To the generation that came of age in the 80s and 90s, J.J. Rawlings will remain a towering man of action, an embodiment of a people's struggle for a better life and a better Ghana.
He started as a dictator. He died a Democrat. I will want to salute the late President Rawlings, and I will do so on behalf of all my colleagues in the profession of arms at the time who remained in the trenches with him, who fought along together. We were fighting poverty. We were fighting greed. All those things that we were fighting. On behalf of all those, I still salute him today, even though he's not with us. And I would like to extend my condolences to his wife, his dear wife, and his children. Indeed, to all Ghanaians, because I think we've lost a formidable leader. Not only because he did everything right, but as a human being, in the course of your performance, certainly it's not everything that's going to go right, but majority of what he did helped save this country. And beyond, I think. He did so for other African countries. I talk about Liberia. Sierra Leone is there, you know. Well, he's someone to be missed. I spent these last few months, particularly because of the mother's death, very close to him. And his death is hard, but you consider what he's done. for the country. He was dedicated, and he was a true patriot. I don't care what anybody says. He would do anything for this republic.
It will take me some time to recover. But God's ways are not our ways. May the giant soldier rest in perfect peace.
If salvation is a matter of believing what God said, he had it. Believing what God said about his only begotten son, he had it. His life may not be perfect like any of us, but I can assure you he had the heart of Christ. May his soul rest in peace. And anybody who knows these things about him, thank God for meeting him. It's been a privilege.
The white man